Use the simple 3-step process to make sure that you always stay motivated. Disclaimer as always, I don't claim to have all the answers or even some of the answers, but I'm just going to tell you what works for me. I run a creative agency, I work at a corporate consultancy, and I make videos for the internet. So I do a fair bunch of things that require motivation. So these 3 steps kind of help me, and I hope they're going to help you. So Steven Pressfield, in his book The War of Art, that I think is amazing, so I suggest everyone read it, explains this in this way. So motivation is basically a moment in time or a concept when the pain of not doing something, right, becomes bigger than the pain of doing something. So eventually the pain of not doing what you want to do becomes so large that the bubble of procrastination just pops. That was hard. So now that we both agree on what motivation is, the big question is how to get to that zone and how to stay there consistently. Now, unfortunately, only 15% of global population, now that includes kind of people that work and people that study at school or university, feel motivated, right? So 85% of people do not. So that means that you have 85% chance of not feeling motivated, which obviously we're going to try to fix, and we're going to try to get you into these 15%. So the 3 steps to consistent motivation that have worked for me so far and fail me less than the other kind of strategies are: first is a pre-game ritual, second is same pattern every time, and third is embarrassingly small and dumb goals. Now let's unpack them one by one. Pre-game ritual is a motivation hack that is stolen from the sports kind of field, right? From Roger Federer, from Michael Jordan, from all those people. Now, what athletes do is they have this cue that signals to their brain that they're about to either train really hard or compete really hard. So pre-game ritual is something that you do, something very small. It can be a very, very small action that signals to your brain, look, we're gonna start working now in a bit, don't freak out. So for me, for example, reading is a huge part of my life, and probably 5 years ago, I kind of decided to get into reading big time. So for me, the way I did it is that I decided to read before bed basically every day, and I've been very, very consistent with this particular habit, and I'm very proud of it. So for me, the mental cue that I have that signals to my brain, like, look, we're about to read, is when my main light goes off in my bedroom and then the bedside light comes on. So then that instantly signals to my brain, look, it's before bedtime, this light is on, it's time to read. If you want to start working out, like, it can be putting your trainers on, like, that's it, that's all you do. You put your trainers on, that's a mental cue, like, look, we're going for a run, or something like this. It can be making coffee before you are about to write an essay, like, literally anything. And for me, this first step, the pre-game ritual, is very, very important because I really struggle with getting started. Like, even this video, I waited 5 hours before I actually started rolling because I didn't think it was a good idea. I didn't think I was actually qualified to talk about this. I didn't think my script was good. But like, once I start, once the camera is on, like, it's on. Step number 2 is you make sure that your activity follows the same pattern every single time. So something that you want to kind of motivate yourself to do, so for example, working out or studying or reading or whatever, that activity should follow the same pattern. And I think James Clear in his book, The Atomic Habits, like, lays this out really well in this technique called the 3 R's. So to stay motivated with any type of task, you need the 3 R's. First R is the reminder, second R is routine, and the third is reward. So reminder is the pre-game ritual that we talked about. Like, it literally can be an alarm on your iPhone, or it can be that smell of brewing coffee that signals to you, okay, we're gonna be working on some university work, or we're gonna be working on school work, or something like that. Now the second one is the actual routine, and that's like, if you're writing notes, that's like picking up a pen, opening your notepad, stuff like that. If you write essays, that's like closing all the other tabs, opening, and again, like, you establish the routine, but it's important to have one so that your tasks follow the same pattern. And then the third R is super important, probably the most enjoyable, is the reward. Now, I know that some people have like snacks as the reward, for example, for studying for a long time, or they would have a really tasty smoothie or a shake or a meal like after working out or something like this. Like, to me, the reward would be just feeling good about being productive. Like, I really like to accomplish stuff and to achieve stuff. So to me, that kind of third R can be something very abstract, like, I didn't waste my day today. Maybe for you, if you need something tangible, like a to-do list, you need a tick or something like that, make sure that you have it. Now, the third and the last step of this motivation kind of strategy is my favorite one, and this one is Set embarrassingly small or even dumb goals. And that has been a complete kind of unlock for me. Let me explain what it is. So the main idea of this step is to actually take away the pressure of achieving something, right? Because it's often that the pressure of achieving this big thing that is preventing us from taking actual steps to get there. So the trick here is to set a goal that is so small, so embarrassing, like so simple, that is kind of the minimum requirement for your performance. Right, so if you want to write more, if you want to film more, like you can't go, okay, I'm gonna film The Irishman today, or I'm gonna write War and Peace today. Like, it's just not gonna happen, right? It's just not gonna happen. You will never do it if you set a massive goals. And then people always talk about small goals, but I really urge you to like start actually going with embarrassingly tiny goals. For example, if you want to get into reading, make it a win for you to read 2 pages a day. Like, that's something mind-blowing, because like, oh, what do you mean 2 pages? I want to read like a book a day. No. Like, set a goal to read 2 pages a day, and if you do that, that's a win. Like, congratulations. Because basically what happens is that you don't miss. Is because you think, this is so embarrassing. How can I miss this goal that I set to read 2 pages a day? Like, oh, like I can't do that. And then you start, and then after you start, then the ball gets rolling, and maybe one day you're gonna read 2, maybe on day 2 you're gonna read 2, but on day 3 you might read 40 all of a sudden. But like, the key is to set a goal that is so small and so embarrassing not to fulfill that you basically don't have an excuse to not do it. So that's it. These are the 3 steps to consistent motivation that I use and that work for me. Just to recap, the first one is pre-game ritual. The second one is consistent pattern. And then the third one is embarrassingly small or even dumb goals.